The calm before the storm. The toughest competition in MMA. The Ultimate Fighter, coached by Daniel Cormier and Michael Bisping, is back for its 34th season. The two UFC legends, guiding 20 up-and-coming prospects across women's strawweight and men's bantamweight through a grueling competition where only one from each division can be left standing by season's end. The show that changed the sport forever, brought it to the mainstream, and produced the champions of tomorrow now enters the Paramount era. Welcome to Season 3 of TUF Enough, a special collaboration of the ETV Network alongside your hosts, Tom Albano and Zain Bando. It's time for the aftermath.
Yes, we are here, Tom Albano and Zain Bando, back with you. And after taking last season off, we are here for another edition of TUF Enough. The Ultimate Fighter Season 34 has officially debuted, Episode 1, dropping on Paramount Plus yesterday, June 14th, in the morning. So they did it before the White House card. Thanks, UFC. You told us it was going to be after the card. So that was already one screw up. So if I look stressed, I'm going to break the fourth wall for you. We're recording this the day of the day the episode drops. You are seeing this the next day, right before Fight IQ. So Zain and I are only a couple of hours away from the White House event, except we each have gotten some sort of notification that says, be prepared. We might be starting a little earlier. So I'm going to try and hustle through this intro for us because we got to get moving.
Yeah, this is a bit more of a rush. Tough enough. I don't think we've had one of these rushed episodes in quite some time, but we promise moving forward it'll be a lot smoother in the episodic cadence. So if we sound rushed, we don't mean it literally. We're going to do better moving forward. It's just the circumstances that he and I are both under with our respective beats. So it is what it is. So
yeah. But anyways, TUF is here. Definitely, I have to say, probably a TUF season that has the most kind of talent to it. Like the roster that they have given for TUF. And going over the backgrounds of these guys, which we will do in just a couple of minutes, really, really talented bunch of individuals that we have here.
Yeah, it was a solid episode for sure. If you guys haven't checked it out, this is just your fair warning to know that there will be spoilers. So if you haven't already watched it, pause this, go back and watch it, and then come back. But yeah, overall, very talented roster so far this season, a nice mix. Strawweights and bantamweights should be really interesting, and an interesting first episode when it comes to elimination of some of the contestants, which I'm really excited to get into because that was a major surprise too.
Yeah, really weird thing that they did at the start of the episode. For full context, though, this season, especially if you can't tell because our images are covering things up here, this season is being coached by Daniel Cormier and Michael Bisping, making 2 3-time TUF coaches. You had Daniel Cormier, who coached one of the TUF seasons alongside Stipe Miocic before their first fight. And then Daniel Cormier coached last season alongside Chael Sonnen. Michael Bisping, who has TUF experience in a way that Daniel Cormier doesn't know, because Michael Bisping ended up winning that third season of The Ultimate Fighter. And then he went on to coach against Dan Henderson, the US-UK season. I think it was 9. And then coached a season against Jason Mayhem Miller.
That was season 11, the last one on Spike.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, Michael Bisping goes on to have a legendary career, becomes the first British fighter to win TUF, and then the first British fighter to win a UFC championship. when he won the UFC middleweight title. And both these guys, former champions in their respective weight classes, UFC legends, Hall of Famers. They deserve every single praise that they get. And two great minds to coach this bunch of 16, and then actually, as we kind of alluded to, started with 20 fighters.
Right, exactly, which is extremely unique in itself to think about, because usually you have 16 and usually each fight their way into the house, and it was kind of that old format that they brought back where 4 were eliminated even before the first fight was booked. So it was very, very unique and very almost stressful, because it was almost like one evaluation was your one shot or not to try to be part of the competition. And for 4 of them, it didn't work out as such. So
before we get into anything, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so you get notified of everything here at the ETB Network, including future episodes of this Tough Enough season, this limited run, because obviously we're only going to do it for the season. And once the season ends, next season.
Yeah, it'll be all the way, I would say, through the finale, right? And then our post-mortem.
Yeah, so that'll bring us to about early September-ish.
I would think so, assuming.
So if you need a weekly fix right before football starts, here you go.
No, that's exactly. You're right, because Tough goes right into Contender Series and probably has a little bit of an overlap too. So
a little bit. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube home, youtube.com/ETB Network. I don't know how this was going to be done, but I believe the show is still going to go out to our X platform. So those of you who are watching on X, if you are, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button, hit the quote post or repost. Or
it will be official, Tom. So that's all good. So you guys
okay, so we're going to our normal destination. So retweet, quote tweets, and then come to our YouTube home, subscribe, and help us grow there. Make sure to follow us across social media. There you go. Our shows at Fight IQ ETB and Bando's Breakdown. And then you can follow the Empty the Bench podcast network itself at ETB Network. You can follow Zain over at Zain Bando 99. And then you can follow me on social media at Thomas J. Albano. All right. Let's get right into it. So, yes, episode 1 ended up dropping at early in the morning on June 14th. That was episode 1, and now you're going to see episodes every Tuesday. And they're going to have a quick turnaround for episode 2 because it's going to start this very Tuesday. You'll see it drop at midnight Eastern.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting and a very unusual cadence for The Ultimate Fighter. Well, it's going to be more usual after episode 2, but this burst of 2 episodes in the span of 7
right, but it's not on a TV schedule or anything. It's going to just drop every week.
Yeah, which is very interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about all of that. We'll talk about it, we'll talk about everything that happens on each episode. We'll talk about, Nick Morgeson texting me in the middle of recording. So what are you going to do? Again, but it was just a normal update. It wasn't anything about any start time. So, we're going to obviously starting with episode 2, break down everything in a usual kind of pattern. We'll start that here this week too, but obviously this was a intro week, so you're going to have a lot of introductory stuff. So, this is the stuff we're going to be going over specifically today because the teams were selected. The first 4 cuts were already made. This season will feature men's bantamweight and women's strawweight. Zain, do you want to go by division or do you want to go by teams?
We could do either or. I would say with the list that I have on our still master notes document that I've kept stored for 2 years, I have it listed by division, but we can do whatever you want.
Then let's do it by division. All right, so first 2 picks for men's bantamweight. Women's strawweight had the actually, you know what? Let's start with women's strawweight. Women's strawweight had the first pick, so let's go to women's strawweight first. The very first pick came from Michael. Actually, no, it was men's bantamweight. Women's strawweight had the first fight, which we'll get into in just a little bit. Men's bantamweight was the first pick, though. First pick from Michael Bisping was Xavier Franklin, 6-1-1. He had a shot in Contender Series back in 2024. and he lost to Davey Martinez, who I think recently talked about during the UFC Freedom 250 preview.
Correct. Yeah, that definitely sounds familiar. And this was someone who Bisping was very high on, so it really wasn't a surprise, was it?
No, I mean, he's got a lot of good stuff to him. He's young. He's already got the Contender Series experience. So is he going to be somebody who stands out? Probably. But that's because a couple of guys that I had my name on, or one or two guys I had my name on, well, one of them ended up being one of the cuts, which kind of surprised me, which we'll talk about in just a second. And if I'm not mistaken, let me double check my notes here. Yep. So Daniel Cormier's first pick in response to Bisping taking Xavier Franklin was Artem Black, 11-2, former LFA bantamweight champion, one of the more experienced guys on the in the bantamweight portion of the season, and somebody who, I mean, Zain, going into the season with the list of names that I had, he was one of my top picks for who's going to come out of the men's bantamweight division as the Ultimate Fighter this year.
Yeah, he was a solid pick for sure, and I think Cormier was very interested in finding fighters who sort of had that eat what you kill mentality, and Ulu certainly did have that for sure.
So going through the rest of the picks for the men's bantamweight division, Michael Bisping's team was Xavier Franklin, who we just talked about. You had Muhammad Ali. Yet one word. This one took me by surprise. One word, Muhammad Ali Usmanli, who is a 12-1 fighter and a veteran of UAE Warriors. You have Ilambek Ulu, a 10-3 fighter, was a champion in AFP, has fought in one championship previously. And then Marlon Jones, who is 5-0, one of the more inexperienced guys here, but has fought in the British scene and is a former FFC, actually pretty recent. He was the FFC champion before signing on for this TUF season.
Right, exactly. Yep.
And then on the Team Cormier side, obviously we just talked about Artem Black. He also drafted Isaiah Sirena, an 11-3 fighter. Has fought for a number of different regional promotions. Former Samurai Fights champion. Was a veteran of LFA. Has fought in Titan FC as well. Then he drafted Sean Mora, 7-1. He was recently the bantamweight champion of Cage Fury Fighting Championships. So he was a standout because obviously that promotion is featured on UFC Fight Pass. And then the drafting of Christian Strong, who's 9-1, picked up a pair of regional titles, hasn't fought since January 2025, but a standout wrestler, and you know Cormier loves his wrestlers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Loves his American wrestlers. So, you know, I look at this roster, Zain. If you had to pick who had the better drafting, if you will, which team seems to have the standouts with the men's bantamweight?
I would say, you can't deny that that Mora was a solid pick. I would say, Ulu, that's obviously really important. All these international guys, the more international guys you have on a show like this, I think it enhances it because that's where the UFC is going. They're looking for markets. They're looking for territories to get these young, polished guys who have 10, 11, 12, 13 wins. It's never a bad thing.
Not at all. I will say, though, Mora ended up being a very controversial pick because Mora and I think it was Ulu got into it a little bit.
Sure did. So
if you saw at the beginning of the episode, Mora and Ulu were doing wrestling practice. They were working on, shooting in on one another. And Ulu shot in a little too close and ended up headbutting Mora. Now, it didn't look like it was on purpose. It looked like it was just an accident. But Mora took offense to it because he said you very easily could cut someone. And so Mora decided to take matters into his own hands with a little Hammurabi's code, a little eye for an eye, and said, okay, if you think it's okay to bust me open, I can bust you open. Pow! Punches him right in the forehead. and it ends up opening up a cut right around the eyebrow level, right above the eye, which Cormier and Bisping both noted is one of the worst places. And those of you who don't follow MMA or just getting used to the sport in the UFC, it's one of the worst places to get cut.
100%.
So when that happened, I thought, oh my God, did this guy screw up his opportunity? And Cormier told Bisping, he's like, you got him. I don't want him. But what ends up happening is Bisping ends up drafting Ulu for his team. And Cormier's like, well, I guess there's one person I know who can cut Ulu and beat him, and that's Mr. Mora. Really, really bizarre thing that happened. But what baffled me was that despite what happened with Sean Mora, that he ended up getting drafted, but the two people who got cut were the two most experienced guys from the men's bantamweight division this season. Rodrigo Vera, who's 21-1, and then Abdul Hussein, who's 15-2, a veteran of UAE Warriors and Brave FC. One of his only losses was to Muhammad Makayev. So I'm like, what happened that they just cut? I'm wondering, Zain, if it's like the more fights you have on you, it's actually going to go against you now in TUF.
Yeah, that's interesting. Or if they sort of knew, okay, if this guy gets cut, he's going to go on Contender Series.
Maybe.
So,
it just feels really unfortunate for those two to get cut like that. Now, Rodrigo Vera was kind of spoiled for us already because Rodrigo Vera fought a couple of weeks ago on the UFC Macau card. But when Rodrigo Vera was fighting, they were talking about tryouts. What I thought they were talking about was like the casting call that they do, because after they announce the divisions they're looking for TUF, they do a typical casting call where you perform and work out for the judge, for the coaches and the
which is usually in late fall, early winter is when they do it.
Right. So I thought they meant he got cut from that. No, they put him on the show and cut him first episode. So then this 21-1 fighter takes a short notice fight in Macau, China a couple of weeks ago, and he ends up winning.
Yeah.
He ends up being one of the performers of, I don't know if he got the performance of the night, but he ends up being one of the top performers. So, I mean, good on you, good on him. Zain, I feel like though that's very anti-TUF.
Yeah, it is.
Like that's bizarre to do that. Like, I get the message is, hey, even if you don't win the TUF season, be on standby because you never know. At the same time, I feel like that openly devalues TUF on TUF.
Yeah, I know. I don't disagree. And just so people aren't lost, Tom, can you go over Team Cormier and Team Bisping for the men's side for those who may have missed it? Because now it's a little bit clearer.
Oh, okay. So for the men's side, I'll go over it again. For the men's side, Team Bisping is Xavier Franklin, Muhammad Ali Osmanli, easy for me to say. Ilinbek Ulu.
Yep.
And who's the last one? Oh, Marlon Jones. And then Team Cormier on the men's side, you got Artem Black, you got Messias Arena, and I apologize if I'm butchering some of these names. I'm still getting to know. Sean Mora and Christian Strong.
Okay.
So those are your players on the men's side. And then on the women's side, the first pick from Team Bisping was Anna Melisano, who is a 6-1 fighter, was recently the champion in Fury FC. Cormier's response, his first pick from the women was, her name is Valeska Machado, however, she is going by Tina Black. 15-4 fighter, with one no contest, and was recently the Invicta Bantamweight champion. Those of you who don't know Invicta is a very prestigious regional promotion, all women's MMA promotion.
It's been around for a long time.
Yep. Some of the early veterans, early women's veterans of this sport got their start in Invicta. So all those women's fighters you saw coming in the mid 2010s within the UFC, most of them, if not all of them, probably end up getting a start or fought at some point in Invicta.
Yep.
So Tina Strong, one of the most experienced women's fighter, and she ends up getting drafting, which is weird. Like I said, Rodrigo Vera and Abdul Hussein were the two most experienced on the men's side. And they were part of the cuts.
Yeah, it was bizarre, man.
Team Bisping's women's fighters are Anna Melisano, Gigi Canuto, Mackenzie Stiller, and Natalia Alves. Stiller is a 6-1 fighter who's fought for both LFA and actually fought one or two times in Bellator. Gigi Canuto is 7-1. She's a veteran of LFA. And Natalia Alves is undefeated at 8-0, also a veteran of LFA. On the Team Cormier side for the women, we just talked about Tina Black. We've also got Delphine Benouache, a 7-2 fighter who fought in Ares FC from France. You've got Melissa Maya, another 8-0 fighter, but not in LFA. She's actually a veteran of Combate Global. She fought most, if not all, of her fights leading up to this TUF season in Combate. And
yeah, you usually don't see that.
Yeah. And then you got Anita Karam, the last pick of the draft, 6-2, was a strawweight champion with Infinite Series and has also competed in one championship. So who stands out to you amongst the women? Because coming into the season, obviously, Tina Black, Valeska Machado, is the big standout. Her time as an Invicta champion, 20-fight veteran, 15 victories. You've got two undefeated fighters in Natalia Alves and Melissa Maya, 8-0, veterans with two very well-known regional promotions. So, those are my top three right there. Those were my top three entering this episode.
I'd say mine would be Karam. This is in no particular order. I would say Alves, Karam, and Stiller. Those would be my top three.
Yeah, I was impressed with Stiller's striking. So I actually took some notes on some of the tryouts that they were doing.
Oh, wait, Tom, I think we're missing two fighters, though.
Well, the two who got cut.
Oh, yeah, true. Okay.
So the two, I'll jump to that. So the two who got cut were Halai Wushamo, who's 10-1, has fought in various Asian MMA promotions, and then Camila Reynoso, 9-1, who actually won 2 titles in Samurai, was a flyweight and strawweight champion.
I was surprised they cut Camila. She seemed very emotional afterward.
Yeah, I was surprised they cut her. I would have thought, 2-division champion. I thought they were gonna hook her in.
Yeah,
Halai didn't surprise me, just simply on paper, because there wasn't really anything stand out.
And also the level of her competition wasn't as good.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. So that Halai didn't surprise me. The other people, Rodrigo, Abdul, Camila, that kind of shocking.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Yep.
Some notes I took, by the way, from the tryouts, other than the Sean Mora and Illenbeck situation. DC loved Tina Black. Bisping had a love for Anna Melisano. DC ended up picking Anita, I mentioned, as the last pick. He loves her scrappiness, though. He sees Anita I'm thinking he sees Anita potentially as the underdog of this season.
Very well could. She would just have to get matched up properly, because if she gets like Alves or Black early, or even like Karam, it could be a disaster. So the draws have to make sense, in my opinion.
So she needs her team to do well, so that way DC continues to pick the fights.
And they also need an upset of some sort.
Yeah. Stiller, Bisping was really impressed with her kicking, as was I. Mm-hmm. She's got some strong kicks behind her.
The question is will she be able to show them? Is the question. That's gonna be a big question.
Well, again, it depends on what those fights were. I think one thing, Zan, though, transitioning out from the team selections and all the different, scenarios that we see in the standouts. So there's your roster, but something that stood out to me, Zan, it's already starting between these two.
Yeah, these two are colleagues at work, right? So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. And Cormier's got some personality to him. Bisping still has the same personality he's always had, but Cormier even admitted it. He's like, Bisping made some changes. Now he's really likable. I even like him a little bit too. And it was very interesting. Again, as I keep alluding to, and I may keep alluding to it every week or every episode that we do this, it feels like a very old school season, a little bit like super early on.
Yeah, but you know what? There's not the same kind of tension. Like Cormier and Bisping is a friendly kind of tension. And you hear them taking shots at one another too. Michael taking shots at Cormier because honestly, when you look at some of Cormier's picks, Christian Strong being one of them, are them guys who are very wrestling heavy.
Yep, very, very much a Cormier heavy team. It's almost like he got the fighters he could have dreamed about.
Yeah, and Cormier, you mentioned picking right.
This is no disrespect to Bisping's team, but to me, very early, and it seems like Cormier's team looks really good.
Well, the thing that, you mentioned needing to pick the right fights. And Sam, one of the things that Bisping was, egging Cormier on about is that, did you see the binder that Cormier has that has all the notes and everything that his team talks about?
Yeah, and then, of course, Bisping's accusing Cormier of having minions.
Yes, he has little yellow creatures walking all around, speaking gibberish. Some have only one eye. Actually, no. If they only have one eye, they should be on Bisping's team.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
So it just, I don't know. There's tension, but it's good tension. It's like they're becoming the standout part of TUF, which could kind of be something that kind of goes against, the whole idea of TUF is supposed to be about. But I don't know, man. I know maybe they're not always the most popular guys, but I love hearing Bisping or Cormier in commentary. And if then you throw them together in a studio or you throw them together on the same commentary desk, it's like the Michael Bisping, Daniel Cormier comedy 3 hours or 6 hours, whatever. It's like a podcast too.
And you could tell that Cormier and Bisping had a great time in Washington, D.C. this past week. So it almost is rather fitting that you get more Cormier and Bisping. If you're sick of them from this past weekend, you'll be sick of them over the next 10 to 12 weeks.
It's gonna be fun over the next.
I don't know if the UFC did that on purpose, but I'm just saying.
Well, it seems like they're going away now from the coaches are going to fight at the end of the season.
Can I give you I don't mean to do this, but a conspiracy theory?
Is it because of everything that went down with McGregor?
No, I don't think so. I just think these coaches these fighters aren't willing to be coaches before these major fights. I think they want to focus solely on camp and all that. I think taking away 8 extra weeks or 10 extra weeks, however long it may be, may just be too much for some of them.
Get Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell to do it again. Let's have a call back of season 1.
Yeah, that's never happening.
I know.
I think Chuck could still do it. I don't know if Randy is interested. I think Randy has so many other interests based on the interview I had with him a couple years ago that I think he's a little bit busy.
Well, obviously he's leading his own team, his own gym at Extreme Couture.
Yeah.
And I guess there's still some tension. I guess there will always ever be some sort of tension between him and Dana.
Oh, yeah. I don't think they'll like each other for a long time, if not ever again. Although, I can't say what I'm about to say. Let's just say that Randy Couture pops up in the public eye in a way that you least expect. Stay tuned for more on that in about a week and a half. But something that really did surprise me, I'll just say that. So
What is this, Zan? You were giving some sort of you're giving some sort of preview for something.
Let's just say tune into UFC Rivals on A&E, and you'll thank me later. That's what I'll say.
What is this? I'm trying to find a sound effect that works for this. Well, we don't have any sort of dun dun dun. Well, I guess we have this. Cover your ears if you know what I'm gonna play.
Essentially that, yeah.
All right. But anyways, Bisping made the first fighter pick, so that means Cormier makes the first fight pick. What did he choose? He chose Ana Melisano against Melissa Amaya. His strategy, Zan, in picking this, he said, I want to eliminate Michael Bisping's, one of Michael Bisping's first picks, which I said, hey, isn't that a kind of a callback to last season?
A little bit, because he did the exact same thing with was it Idris in episode 1, right?
It was TUF 33. So actually, no, he was the victim last time. That was Joseph Morales. They had the battle of first picks on the first.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Joseph Morales ended up being Eduardo Henrique because Cormier drafted Henrique number 1 overall. Sonnen then drafted Morales in response. Morales beat Henrique, and then Morales went on to win the whole season.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So Cormier, I guess, needed to feel a little revenge. He needed to avenge what had happened to poor Eduardo Henrique, who then ended up fighting on Contender Series.
Yeah, that's exactly what he got.
So that was that. The fight camps for Melisano and Amaya. Going into it, it felt like a typical striker versus grappler battle because they were talking. Cormier and Amaya were talking about how they noticed during the tryouts that when Ana Melisano was taken down, she struggled to get back up. She has little ground game to her.
Yeah, she sure did, and I think that's I really do think that's an inexperience factor. I really do.
Which is a little disappointing for somebody who was taken in for the season 6-1 and has been a champion of a promotion like Fury FC.
Yeah.
And then
I honestly think, well, not to give it away too much, but I do think Melisano, let's just say, came into this fight, I would argue, a little bit too overconfident.
Well, we'll talk about what happened in the fight itself, but when we talk about Ana Melisano, I mean, her striking was excellent, and Bisping wanted her to use that striking, and hey, just got to avoid the takedowns, and you should be good. Saying that Melissa Amaya couldn't handle Melisano's striking.
Right.
Yeah, you got somebody with the first name of Melissa and somebody with the last name Melisano. That's just great.
Yeah, I mean the only I guess tongue twister that I know of is well, I shouldn't say, but let's just say somebody that I know has a very similar tongue twisting name that is very much formatted or formulated like that. So I totally understand your confusion there with that being, a double M name and everything. But yeah, certainly.
Not even a double M name. Actually, Zan, one of them, their initials is AM, and the other one, their initials is MA.
Yeah, that's a little interesting, isn't it?
I feel like Joe Rogan trying to pronounce Umar Nurmagomedov's name.
Yeah, no kidding. That's one of the most infamous clips of all time. Which, by the way, for those of you who listen to Fight IQ, the pre-show ahead of UFC Freedom 250, you and I had a pretty good laugh about that. So,
I feel like I need to get that into the soundboard.
Yeah. Well said.
So yeah, those were the fight preparations. So it looked like a traditional striker versus grappler battle. I'm like,
Also, what I thought was interesting, and I know this is more of a fight prep thing, but in the house, though, it seemed like the team loyalty from both sides already, even in the first episode, was on full display, and I was really surprised to see that, like immediately right out of the gate.
See, I felt like the mood in the house was very cordial. Like it felt like They were all just 16 guys and girls just getting to know one another and just chilling and hanging out.
Yeah.
One of them breaking the bed already.
Yeah. Not a good start.
Not a good start when you try to dive onto a bed and it breaks, and then you have a whole shuffling in the house. I
think some of them are starting to feel the lack of technology already for some of them, I think.
Well, as we get younger and younger fighters in the house, having to disconnect from technology, young people don't do that.
No, young people do not do that. The longest I've ever gone without a phone time is 2 weeks.
See, I never got my first phone until I was 13 years old, so...
No, same here. I'm just saying the longest I've ever gone without one is 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I used to never really need a phone, and now I'm in a professions where it's like the phone, it could be everything.
Mm-hmm, well said.
All right. But yeah, they go into this fight. Pardon me, the house dynamic is, pretty cool. It was pretty chill. And didn't one of the girls say because of all the reshuffling, she's now rooming with 4 guys?
Yeah, she did say that, and she found it to be a little weird, but it seems like she's starting to get along with them well. Now, I know this is non-fight related. It'll be interesting to see if they become really close, or if those 4 grow to hate each other, and that'll be really interesting.
It's college dorm style atmosphere.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's time for the fight. If you did not catch the fight, I don't know why I'm still doing this because TUF doesn't air live anymore. The episode just drops. But you know what? For old time's sake, here you go. Here's your 5-second countdown. All right. And the first fight wasn't even close.
No.
So Melissa Amaya just completely, for Melissa Amaya
steamrolled her. It was so easy, man.
Yeah, well, for Melissa, for all that talk about, she's grappling, and Cormier loves his wrestlers. Amaya's striking was something else.
Yeah.
And honestly,
sure was. And she was really smooth, really confident, and picked her shots well, and wasn't worried at all, and just followed her coach's advice, and her transitions were beautiful. Like the way she got this rear naked choke was effortless. Yeah. And it was so effortless that Daniel Cormier was so blown away that that he picked her up and gave her the biggest bear hug I've ever seen. He was elated when she won. He couldn't believe it.
He practically bridal carried her.
Yeah, literally.
Like, it was insane. But honestly, Zain, I'm not just saying this because of the way that the fight played out. This might be a little hot take, but like I said, Alves, Amaya, Machado, or AKA Tina Black, were my top 3 going into this. I honestly thought Melissa Amaya was more worthy of a number 1 overall pick than Anna. I was surprised that Bisping went with her. Maybe it was level of competition, but when you're 8-0 and you fought in a promotion almost exclusively, if not exclusively, like Combate, that's just something to me that screams, hey, this is a talented person who probably could be a favorite to win the season.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I think the way that she fought in this fight, she showed she is somebody who could be a favorite to win this season. So you had Amaya starting out. She was already on display with kicks. Like, those kicks were pretty damn good. And then she was cutting off the cage. Melisana was trying to get inside, but and then Anna talked about it afterwards that she felt like she couldn't get anything going. She couldn't get into another gear. It was just too lax.
Yeah, I was going to say Melisano was extremely hard on herself. Dana White even told her it was okay. Her coaches told her it was fine too, but it was one of those where she probably thought, okay, I have one shot in front of the whole world to show what I can do.
And I'm going to do this. And then it's like her mind and her body just were not on the same page.
Well, if somebody gets injured who knows? Maybe they'll bring her back. But that's one of those where it might sting for a bit.
Oh, it's going to. Oh, no, it's not that it's might. It's going to. It's going to sting a while.
Well, I'm only saying might because she said herself that she won't know how hard this is going to be for her until a little while later. So,
yeah,
I think we'll find out the aftermath of how brutal this was for her on episode 2. That's what I think.
Yeah, but then the fight ended. Amaya, it looked like she had landed either a body kick or a head kick that stumbled Anna. Anna fell to the ground, and then Melissa just hopped on from there, got right to the back, body triangle, sunk right into the rear naked choke. It was like very little defense that Melisano could provide.
Very well said. Yep.
So that was that. 1-0 goes Daniel Cormier. He gets the revenge from last season. He avenges the Eduardo Henrique disaster from last year.
Well said. Do you want to go into what the Tough Enough viewers should expect in episode 2? Because the second fight was revealed before the episode ended, and there was a bit of a preview to what the entire season may bring, which is very interesting.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in just a second. Next week, the first tough bantamweight fight got announced. This is where you saw Bisping giving it a little bit to DC with the binder again. And so DC, what was interesting though, I think they kind of gave away a fight that was going to happen, and it feels obvious based on what happened this first episode that eventually we will see Sean Mora versus Ilambek Ulu. But for some reason, DC said, I'm not ready to give Mora that fight yet. And he actually wants to give Ulu a little bit of time to still recover with the cut. So he goes instead with Marlon Jones versus Christian Strong. This being noted, Christian Strong, probably the most DC kind of pick that DC can provide because Christian Strong has the American wrestling background. Marlon Jones, one of the more inexperienced, but still has some solid striking on display.
Yeah, if Jones stuffs the takedown, this fight's interesting on the feet. If he doesn't, it could be a boring 2-round decision without a sudden victory round, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is it seems like he's going to find his grapplers, DC, to just take out some of the better strikers, or I should say, some of the Bisping participants with the weakest takedown defense.
That's well said. Yep, exactly.
You're going to try to pick some of them off one by one. Mm-hmm. I've got a feeling, though, based on what DC did, I've got a feeling the minute Bisping wins a fight, he's booking that Ulu Mora fight.
He has to. That's what the entire build from episodes, let's say 2 through 6, is going to be.
When does Bisping win? When does Bisping win? Because then the next week is going to be that fight.
So if you were to make a way too early prediction, when do you think Bisping gets his first win? And because I don't think it's going to be in episode 2.
I think it's going to be episode 3 or 4.
Okay.
3 or 4.
Something tells me Cormier is gonna win the head-to-head in this season, though.
Well, I mean, Cormier. I think Dana noted at the start during the intro that Cormier in every division for the season that he's coached tough in, he's had a finalist.
Yeah.
And I forget it was 2 or 3. 2 or 3 of them have won the season.
2 of them have won.
Yeah, 2 of them have won. So Daniel Cormier is one of the more successful tough coaches, and Daniel Cormier does assist in coaching fighters. So this is his wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, this is what he does. He was tailor-made to do the show.
Yeah, he was tailor-made to be the personality.
I don't mean to be that guy, Tom, but now that I think of it, the UFC really did fumble the bag, if you will, by not making one of those Cormier Jones fights around a tough season against each other. Yeah.
That would have been interesting. And John Jones has coached tough before too.
Yeah, against Chael Sonnen. Yep.
But yeah, so this is going to be the fight next week. And then they went into the typical episode 1 ending where they previewed the whole season. I've got a feeling, I don't know about in the cage, but the house stuff, oh man.
This is going to be the most unhinged season since the TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt saga from like a decade ago. It's going to be.
Oh, and by the way, because they're on Paramount Plus now, they can feel free to. They don't have to censor anything.
Nope.
This thing dropped an F-bomb towards Cormier.
Yeah, it was raw. It was raw and intense. Yeah.
We're gonna. There are some antics. It looks like they're going to be drunken antics. It looks like they're going to be stuff all around the house.
There's going to be a house fight at some point, I think, because I don't know.
I already saw some tension outside the cage with one of the fights at the Apex they showed.
And something tells me too, Tom. Speaking of the Apex, I think they will be invited to an Apex fight night in this season. Yeah.
Here's what I'm curious about. Cormier was shaving Bisping's head at one point. Are they giving away that Cormier is going to win the fencing competition and shave Bisping as a reward? Or is there some other bet that we don't know about?
No, this is going to be, to me, a payback to the Mayhem Miller season when the identical thing happened, but opposite.
Oh my God.
16 years later. Yeah.
So is this season just going to be filled with a bunch of callbacks too? You got Cormier going for his revenge for the number 1 overall pick last year. You got the head shaving. We're just going to have all these little callbacks.
Yeah, it's going to feel very OG, like the UFC's back in the Paramount family again. It's going to feel very much like an OG Spike TV season a little bit, I think.
Let's hope, because those seasons were awesome.
Absolutely.
100%. All right. Thank you all for joining us for the first edition of this new TUF Enough season, for this new TUF season. This is TUF Enough, the Ultimate Fighter, Team Cormier versus Team Bisping Aftermath, a special limited series here on the ETV network.
I think we're the only Ultimate Fighter post show in the entire MMA ecosystem still. I'm almost positive about that.
Well, if you like TUF, like us, then come join us every week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's why it's important to not just hit this like button, but Zain, it's even more important that they hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Too important. Especially important because now with this new format where they're just dropping the episodes at midnight, we have to figure out a time slot for us. So that's why it's important you subscribe and ring the bell. So anytime we go live, anytime this show is going to be scheduled, you'll be in the know.
Yeah, you'll be in the know for sure. You'll be in the know on social media because depending on just working around some logistical things, we may tease our schedule a little bit once we know a little bit more of what's to come. And I'm sure, Tom, you'll plug it on Fight IQ. I'll plug it on BB a couple of times. We'll try to keep you guys in the know as much as we possibly can. But excited to resurrect this thing. It's season 3 of TUF Enough. If you want to go back and watch the old archives, we did do a season of this for McGregor Chandler, and we did also did a season of it for Valentina and Alexa. Yep, exactly. Which, by the way, this may be a bit of a biased opinion, considering I like to see the UFC do well, but I actually genuinely enjoyed the Valentina Alexa season. There was a complete mess between those two a couple of years ago, especially with the Kelsey Plum challenge. That was very, very interesting.
Oh, yeah, when they showed why they're fighters and they're not athletes in the other sports.
That's exactly right. Yep.
All right, but quickly, we got to get out of here. So make sure you follow us across social media at Fight IQ and at Bando's Breakdowns. Those are our respective shows. My show typically airs every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So it's about to start soon after this episode drops. So tune in with me. And then BB is every Friday, right, at 3?
Every Friday at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. It'll officially move to Thursdays in the live format at the end of June, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It's going to turn into a live show just like the rest of the network is. So,
okay, cool. All right. And then follow the network at ETV Network. Follow me at Thomas J. Albano. Follow Zain at ZanBando99. But that is going to do it for this edition of TUF Enough, this premiere edition of TUF Enough. this new season. This is Tough Enough, The Ultimate Fighter, Team Cormier versus Team Bisping Aftermath. That is Zain Bando, and I am Tom Albano. We will see you next time this coming week. Keep your notifications set to find out when for episode 2 of this season. Until then, take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the tough anticipation to episode 2 while you can, and keep it locked right here. Cheers, everyone. Have a good one.